All right, diving right in. Today we're tackling how to build that super devoted Gen Z fan base everyone's after in 2025. And we've got some really awesome sources to help us break it all down. We've got the Cultivating a Loyal Gen Z Fan Base FAQ, a briefing doc based on Tech Tycoon's guide to building and developing a loyal fan base in this Gen Z era. Oh, and we even snagged some discussion notes straight from Tech Tycoon and Chief Distro themselves.
There's some gold in there.
Yeah. Get ready to learn about why sharing your struggles, believe it or not, can actually be a huge strength. We'll also be uncovering why email is making a major comeback and some strategies for making fans feel like total VIPs.
And the big picture here, right, is we're not just going for like a quick burst of popularity. It's about cultivating that genuine, lasting loyalty from a generation that can seriously spot a fake from a mile away.
Totally, yeah. Gen Z, they've got that BS detector on high alert, and all of our sources, I mean, they really emphasize that.
They have every right to, honestly. I mean, think about it. They've grown up with the internet, constantly bombarded with like perfectly curated content and influencer marketing. Authenticity is everything to this generation. They want the real you, not just some like picture perfect facade, you know?
Makes sense. And one of the tips that really stuck with me was this idea of sharing your achievements, sure, but also sharing the struggles, the setbacks. Don't be afraid to peel back the curtain a bit and just show the human side of whatever you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, when you only show the highlights, you create this distance, right, between you and your audience. But being vulnerable, sharing your challenges, I mean, that's what makes you relatable.
It shows them you're just like them, working towards goals, facing obstacles.
Exactly.
One of the sources mentioned this musician, can't remember the name right now, but they built this massive following by documenting their entire creative process, the good, the bad, the ugly, the whole thing. Fans loved seeing the behind-the-scenes struggles and triumphs.
Because it made them feel like they were part of the journey.
It's like a shared experience, right?
Super powerful. They're not just passively consuming your content, they're invested.
So, okay, we've got authenticity down, but how do we build on that and create real engagement? Because our sources, they're very clear. It's got to be a two-way street.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
Posting content and hoping for a reaction, that's not enough anymore.
Yeah.
You really need to actively invite participation, make fans feel like their voices are actually being heard, like they matter.
It's about building that sense of community.
Yes, where everyone feels valued.
I was really into this idea of using polls to get fan feedback on creative decisions. Like, imagine asking your fans, hey, which song title really grabs you? Or what kind of vibe should we go for in the next video?
That's awesome. Gives them ownership and you get amazing insights into what they actually want.
Total win-win. But then there's this whole algorithm thing, right? They kind of control so much of what we see online. How do we cut through all that noise and make sure our message is getting to the right people?
Well, that's where direct communication comes in. Social media is still important, sure, but these sources are really highlighting the power of email and SMS, for building those one-on-one relationships with your audience.
Email, huh? Who knew it would be making such a comeback?
Well, think about it. Algorithms constantly filtering our feeds, but email, it's a direct line to your fans' inboxes.
They're actually seeing what you're putting out there.
Exactly.
And you can get way more personal than on social media. You can send messages tailored to specific interests, all that.
And one of the best ways to use email, offering exclusive benefits to your subscribers. Early access to tickets, behind-the-scenes content, discounts on merch, you name it.
Making them feel like VIPs.
Right. It taps into that desire to belong, to be part of something special.
Okay, that's really smart. Now, another strategy that came up a lot was collaboration. Working with other artists or creators, it can be a great way to reach new audiences. And, of course, keeps things interesting for your existing fans.
Definitely. But choosing the right collaborators is key. You want partners who share a similar audience, values that align with your own, all of that.
So it's like almost cross-pollinating fan bases, introducing them to something new they're likely to dig because it already fits their tastes.
Exactly. Our sources even mentioned this one example where two artists, they had overlapping fan bases, collaborated on a project, and both saw massive growth.
Like a perfect match.
A total synergy.
That makes a lot of sense. And this actually ties into another cool point, the power of exclusivity.
Oh yeah, huge. In a world where there's just endless content, people crave things that are unique, hard to come by.
And our sources were all about leaning into that, making fans feel like VIPs through exclusive content, limited edition merch, personalized experiences.
Anything that gives them that I'm part of something special feeling.
Like those virtual hangouts or listening parties they mentioned. Imagine getting to chat with your favorite artist or hear their new album before anyone else.
Seriously, that's powerful.
Makes you feel valued.
Absolutely, and it all goes back to that sense of connection, belonging.
Which brings us perfectly to our next topic, community.
It's like that VIP feeling fuels the desire for a community too,
Right.
right? They're already feeling special as individuals. Now, how do you connect them with each other?
And our sources had a lot to say about using dedicated hashtags for exactly that. They said it's brilliant for letting fans connect, share their excitement, really feel like they're part of a bigger movement.
I love that, a movement.
Yeah.
And one of the sources had this awesome example, this artist who used a hashtag to basically turn passive listeners into active participants. They were encouraging fans to express their own interpretations of the music through art, dance, anything creative, really.
That's so cool. So it's more than just a label. It's a platform for shared experience.
Exactly. And that shared experience, it just deepens their investment in your journey. They're not just consuming anymore, they're contributing.
They become co-creators. Okay, but I'm sure none of this magic happens without two key ingredients, and our sources were adamant about this. Consistency and quality.
Yeah, you got to have both. Consistency, it builds trust, like that reliable friend who's always there for you.
And high-quality content. That's what keeps them coming back for more.
For sure.
It's a powerful combo.
Definitely.
And there was this one artist mentioned. They totally nailed both.
Oh, yeah.
They were releasing new music like clockwork, always top-notch stuff. And they were super active, always interacting with their fans. And their fan base just exploded.
It proves it works, right?
Yeah.
A solid strategy makes all the difference.
For sure.
Speaking of strategy, let's talk about a tool that can give you a huge advantage. Data.
Ooh, data. This is where it gets interesting. All that streaming data, it can tell you so much about your audience.
It's like having this secret decoder ring to figure out what makes your fans tick.
Exactly.
Imagine a detailed map of your fan base. You know who they are, where they are, what they listen to, even how they engage with your stuff.
So you can actually personalize everything.
Exactly.
From song recommendations to tour locations, instead of just guessing.
Exactly. You tailor the whole experience to their tastes.
Taking fan engagement to a whole other level.
Absolutely.
It all comes back to connection, right?
It does, 100%. The better you understand your fans, the deeper you can connect with them.
Okay, we've covered so much. Authenticity, engagement, exclusivity, community, consistency, quality, data. What are we missing? What's that final piece?
It might seem obvious, but it's so important. Show the love. Gratitude is huge for building loyalty.
All the sources talked about that. Rewarding fans, even in small ways.
Yeah.
Shout-outs, giveaways, involving them in projects.
Yeah, it all matters.
It reinforces that mutual appreciation.
They're not just numbers to you. They're a part of your journey.
It's acknowledging their contribution.
Exactly.
So it's not just about giving them something, it's about recognizing their presence. Which leads to a really interesting question. How can we use all these insights not just to build a fan base, but to create true believers? Fans who are totally invested in your success.
It's more than a fan base then, right? It's like a movement.
Yeah, and when people feel that connected, they become your biggest supporter.
They spread the word, they support your work, they become like advocates for your vision.
They go from passive listeners to active participants, helping to shape what you do.
It's the ultimate loyalty.
It is.
Every artist should be aiming for that.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, we want to leave you with something to think about. We've gone through all these strategies for building a loyal Gen Z fan base. But what does it actually look like to put these ideas into action?
Imagine your fans aren't just listening or watching, they're actually contributing to your creative process.
Yeah, what if they help you come up with your next song, your next design, your next big idea?
What if your fan base became like a creative think tank, a community of collaborators who are just as invested as you are?
That's the power of connection.
It takes fandom to a whole other level.
It really does.
It's remarkable.
It is, and it's something worth working towards, right?
Absolutely.
So, as you move forward, we encourage you to think outside the box. Experiment with these strategies. See what happens when you really empower your fans.
Because in a world where there's so much content, it's those genuine connections that matter most.
That's it for our deep dive on cultivating a loyal Gen Z fan base. We hope you got some great insights and you're feeling inspired to build a fan base that's as passionate about your work as you are. Until next time, keep learning, keep creating, and keep connecting.